The Roaring Twenties was an era that brought massive changes to the American society. It transcurred between 1920 until the Wall Street crash of 1929.
After World War I, the United States became more and more powerful while Europe was in decadence. The USA was a rich superpower and an industrial country. The Republican presidents promoted business with lower taxes. USA lended money to European countries in order to recover after the war. The middle class now is able to afford cars and other luxurious things thanks to the manufacturing, the oversupply of goods, and the availability of credit. The consumer society begins as we know it nowadays, developing huge changes in the society in a short period of time.
The principal characteristic of this period is the economic prosperity. The United States had large supplies of natural sources and plenty of factories that helped the technological progress advance. Businessmen like Henry Ford became popular. He invented the assembly line, which made the process of producing an easier, quicker, and cheaper. And thanks to the availability of cheap credits and the increase of employment, some people could afford buying it. The use of credit was a life-changing measure for many Americans. It was said, "Live now, pay tomorrow." Even though the national wealth increased, the vast majority of the population lived just below the poverty line.
As a consequence of the technological revolution in the 1880s, advertising was originated, and in the 20s it became very important for society. In this period, it is highlighted the consumerism. In the roaring 20s, economy raised, the production grown, prices were lower, and transport was expanded, so almost everybody could afford to buy things. In this decade, publicity wasn't just announced. Publicists persuade people of a product to create them a necessity. Companies invest a lot of money in hire film stars, publishers, and publicists. They make announcements with catchy slogans and attractive colors. As a result, consumerism grew. People wanted to buy everything they saw, even though they didn't need them. Advertising was everywhere, on the radio, TV, newspapers, and in the streets. And it was about whatever you can imagine: cars, soft drinks, tobacco, makeup.
Events like communism, Ku Klux Klan, women's right to work and vote, evolutionary science, advances in medicine and technology, prohibition, and the crash of the stock market changed the American way of thinking. The availability of credit made possible to buy things like radios, pianos, fridges, etc. that made possible to have a higher quality of life and more free time. Entertainment became important. Jazz music became really popular with the popularity of the radio. The opening of public dance halls, clubs and cheer rooms made it easier to enjoy the jazz music, which was danced with movements inspired by African-style dance moves.
In the 20s, cinemas from all over the world would project American movies. Most of them were made in Hollywood. This place was a suburb of Los Angeles that attracted filmmakers for its clear air and plentiful sunshine. The films were silent, so their language was international. The movies were made by studios run by businessmen that their principal aim was to make as much money as they can. So, when they noticed that a type of film was liked by the audience, they released many of the same kind. They also created what is called a star, an actor-actress that were so popular that people would see any of their films. They did it thanks to the advertisement, the fan magazine, etc.
Another fact that reflects the new era was fashion. As advertising developed, people were influenced by it. Not only advertising had a big impact on them, but the film industry, which was growing, do it too. Hollywood stars were a role model for women, who imitate them by wearing the same hairstyles, jewelry, or dresses. The women stopped wearing clothes from the Victorian era, like hoop skirts or corsets, and began to wear more flowy dresses with whom to dance, travel, or go to work. Furthermore, women's ideal body changed. Sporting healthy bodies were replaced by natural bodies, although the use of makeup returned to fashion. It also appeared the flapper girl, a new idea of casual and reckless woman, whose stereotype was being immature, hardly clothed, and independent.
It was a marvelous decade for the art and literature. New styles such as Surrealism or Art Deco were on trend and prospered during the 1920s. New talented young authors started writing about their feelings and of misunderstanding and alienation. 1920s are associated with modernity and a breakdown with traditional way of life. Novels like The Great Gatsby, The Anne of Green Gables, or the Hardy Boys series were written during the Roaring Twenties.
It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around, finally found somebody who. It had to be you. It had to be you.